Welcome to worship here at First Parish in Framingham. I am the Reverend Aaron Stockwell, Senior Minister.
And I'm Rebecca Crawford, Director of Religious Exploration.
And we are here socially distanced and masked, leading this first intentionally multi-generational service here. Thank you for inviting your spiritual community into your home on this Sunday morning. We are so glad that you're watching. Also, a quick shout out to Beth Walton, who decorated our chancel for this morning's service. The pottery pots were hand-built by Jennifer Walton, and those are holding the plants. Thank you again, Beth.
If you're joining us on Sunday morning, you're invited to join us for our virtual coffee hour immediately following the service. The details will be on the final screen.
First Parish in Framingham is a welcoming congregation, and Unitarian Universalism is a faith for all souls. That means
it doesn't matter who you love or what race you are or how old you are.
It doesn't matter how you get around this world or what device you are watching this on.
It doesn't matter if you are a kindergartner or a fourth grader or a sophomore or a super senior, a college student, a teacher, a professor, an unschooler, a homeschooler, or by choice or perhaps just by circumstance, a dropout, studying for your GED, maybe somewhere in between.
You, my friend, are welcome here. Since 1701, people have been a part of the First Parish in Framingham, seeking peace and seeking meaning. Those people are a lot like you.
Doesn't matter if you're a wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, or if you've broken your vows 10,000 times. Come, yet again come. Come worship with us today.
Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, 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 come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are. Wanderer, come, whoever you are. Ours is no caravan, lover 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 of speed. Ours is no caravan, of despair. Come, yet again, 1,000 times. Come, yet again, 1,000 times. Come, yet again, 1,000 times. Come, yet again, come. Come, yet again, come.
The flaming chalice is the symbol of our faith tradition. It represents a flame of wisdom and of hope. As the children of our congregation light the chalice, and as I light the chalice in our sanctuary, may we each kindle our own separate flames. You are invited to type into the chat box, if you're watching this live, "The chalice is lit in our home."
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let be sung through every land by every tongue.
Please join us in our words of affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church.
The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve all life with compassion, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. This is our great covenant, one with another and with our God.
So I want to tell you what I carry around in my backpack. And to do that, we're going to go on a little hike. But I don't normally go hiking in these clothes. So I just need to change real quick. Maybe a snap of the fingers will do the trick. All right, well, let's go outside. Let me just grab my backpack. Yeah, don't worry. I blew out all of the candles. And before we end up going all the way down the nature trail, I think there's a class out there. We'll just stop right here. All right, so I carry a lot of different things in my backpack that they have the meaning in the thing that they actually are, but there is an additional meaning to them. We can all think of those things, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So the first is a water bottle. Oftentimes when I'm hiking, I get really thirsty. So it's always good to have a water bottle. This, of course, is not filled up, but so often having that water bottle is important because sometimes our spirits can get parched and we need something when we're feeling like we can't go on. Next, what do we have? Nice little hat. Probably wouldn't wear this when I start out or like right now, but it's always good to have something in case it gets a little bit colder than you were expecting. Most of the times life is pretty good, but every now and then things don't go so well. So you need something that gives you warmth during really cold times in your life. So, hat. A guide to hiking in Massachusetts. Sometimes you'll go someplace in your life and you've never gone there before, but other people have gone there before. So it's important to carry guidebooks that have maps and can help you when you get lost. Another thing that I like to carry is a flashlight, which of course won't work. There we go. Flashlight's really good for traveling in the dark. We all go through dark times in our lives and we need a light to shine ahead of us to help us through those dark times, to see the obstacles and to see the way through. Now, of course, normally I wouldn't carry boots in my backpack. I'd be wearing them. But it's important to have a firm foundation. These protect your feet over the paths that you're traveling on, protecting you from rocks and other obstacles. So it's important to have those things in your life that protect you and that provide you with that firm foundation. All right, a jacket. Jackets are important because they provide warmth. Oftentimes you might set out hiking and things are going all right and then it gets colder and you want something that will provide you with that sense of warmth. Sometimes I'll also carry another jacket or a vest because the person that I am traveling with might get cold, and it's always important to look out for everyone else around you. I also carry a rain jacket with me. Rain jackets are important for the times in our life that we weren't expecting, the times that we have to travel through area that is unpleasant. It's important to have something that protects us. Sometimes you do need kind of a thicker shell to protect you. And finally, some rope. This rope we'll have to allow it to be a little bit more symbolic because it's pretty short, but it's important to have that thing that will be out there to help one another. So I'm wondering, in your life, what are the things that you carry in your backpack that can help others and can help you? So now that I've told you about some of the things that I carry in my own backpack when I go hiking, you can probably think of all of the different things that you carry in your own backpack. But one of the things that is missing right now is our blessings from our congregation. Those too can fit into your backpack, and you don't need a compression sack to get them in there. They fit around everything else that is in there. We want to bless your backpacks because we want you to know the truth that our congregation goes with you wherever you go. So now let us pray. Spirit of life and love. That's not scrolling. Oh. Maybe it is. And now let us pray. Spirit of life and love, be with our children as they journey throughout their education. Fill their hearts with courage and strength and tenderness and patience. Help them to tell their truth about who they are and all that they see. Help us to listen in a way that lets them speak. Be with all of us whose hearts break for the backpacks not taken up tomorrow. Help us all to reach out, using our minds and bodies and words, trusting our wise and growing hearts, to truly make our classrooms, wherever they may be, whether they are at school or at home, and our workplaces, our homes and our churches, and our world, safe and nurturing places for all. Spirit of life and love, fill us with courage and help us to know that wherever we go in love. May it be so, and amen.
Remembering the future. Can we develop the skill of remembering the future? Can we commit to build the community that will extend into a time that we only know by memory because it will outlast us?
Memorize the compass points of the day yet to come, the truth, the love, the fire, the endless yes of the horizon.
Shake the scales from your imagination. Reach, stretch, rise. There is no more time for pretending that everything can be all right without your care, without your attention. You can mourn, grief being more real at times than the promise of sunrise. And yet, while we mourn changes, losses, deceptions, and betrayals, beneath the ash, we find the ember.
We weep, and then, as we have learned from our labor movements, we organize. Remember the day towards which we gather, the tomorrow towards which we advance. It is with your actions today that you engage that muscle memory, that sense of smell, the ragged velvet feel of a day that you have never lived.
It is also your day. Remember it well.
Remember it well.
Our second blessing today is adapted by the words of Dana Edwards, who is the Director of Religious Exploration at Paintbrush Unitarian Universalist Church in Maryland. So get yourself comfortable and let's begin. Dear ones, in the past few weeks, we have started a new school year, a school year like no other before. Here we are, embarking on a new way of being together and learning together. Whether you're in pre-K and completing just the very beginnings of your school journey, or you're getting an advanced degree, or using a device to connect virtually with family and friends, your learning in this school year here together is going to include an electronic device in new and different ways. So I invite you to pick up your tablet or your Chromebook, your laptop, your electronic device, and join me in a ritual of blessing of the school year. Perhaps you're using that device right now to join us here for worship. So take it in your hands, and let's take a moment to breathe into all of the many adjustments that we have had to make in our lives and in our educational journeys so that we can stay safe and keep our loved ones safe from COVID-19. Let's breathe and release our attachment to the way that things used to be as we feel the weight of our electronic devices in our hands or on our laps. We can use that weight to ground us and to center us, making our connection to the earth sturdier than ever before. Let's breathe and open our hearts to gratitude for all of the creativity and the resources and the human labor that went into making this very device functional for us. Let's breathe and find a moment of awe and wonder for the many ways that we are invisibly and almost ethereally connected through electricity and Wi-Fi and 3G and 4G and 5G even, and Bluetooth. Let's breathe and remember that it's not the device that has value. The value is found in the connections which the device allows us to sustain. Let's breathe and imagine all of those people with whom we have connected virtually in these past few months of physical distancing and hold their presence in our hearts. Let's breathe and hold our teachers in our hearts as they think more creatively than ever before to create an oasis of joy and connection and learning through our devices. As we close this blessing, I invite you to take a moment to clean the device so that you can have a clean start to the new school year. I also invite you to bring something that you can find in nature, maybe a flower or a rock, an orange or apple, a blade of grass, some leaves, something to put you back in connection with the world of the divine when the online world gets so overwhelming, and bring that piece of nature to your learning space this year. Blessings for the new school year. We are connected.
Now is the time in our service that we set aside for sharing the things which weigh deepest on our hearts, because we know that a sorrow shared can be a burden lifted, and a joy shared can be a joy expanded. There will be prompts on the screen which will help give some order to our sharing. Please feel free to type those, joys or sorrows, into the chat box. Also, do remember that in this virtual space, privacy cannot be guaranteed. So if you do have something a little bit more tender to share, send me an email.
Comfort Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Speak with me, speak with me, speak with me, oh my soul. Speak with me, speak with me, speak with me, oh my soul. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me, oh my soul. Stay with me, stay with me, stay with me, oh my soul.
Let us now take a moment to find a comfortable breath. A breath in and a breath out. Let us each take a moment to feel whatever is supporting us. A chair or the ground beneath us. Let us each put away those shopping lists that can get so cluttered and focus on a different list. Let us focus on the things that we are thankful for the joys that we have shared this morning, for friends and family, for the moments when we learn something new. May these moments continue to bless our lives. We move down to the next item on that shopping list. The people in our lives who are ill, those who mourn, those who live with addiction, knowing that those people could be ourselves. May we find ways to reach out to others or ourselves. May we be that reminder that we have worth and dignity. This morning, we also celebrate the life and mourn the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who died on Friday. When asked how she would like to be remembered, Justice Ginsburg responded, "Someone who used whatever talent she had to do her work to the very best of her ability, and to help repair tears in her society, to make things a little better through the use of whatever talent and ability she has." May we remember Justice Ginsburg in this way. Further down on the list are the list of people that we know or that we don't know who are living in turmoil. Those living with mental illness, those living in unsafe homes, those living in harm's way, those people who live under the constant pressure of oppression. May we find ways to lessen that pressure. May we find ways to be love's hands in the world. to work to bend the arc of the universe towards justice. May we find ways to proclaim that Black Lives Matter. And finally, we move to that part of the list, that part of the shopping list that is a little bit more challenging. That secret list that we keep of all of the ways that we have come up short, ways that we might know and have created ourselves, or the ways that society tells us that we are not enough. May we be reminded, and may we remind others that we, yes, you, are loved and lovable, not in spite of these imperfections, but because of them. We are all human. We all say things that we don't mean to say. We all do things a little too quickly. With that reminder that we are loved and lovable, may we find ways to reach out to those that we might have hurt and say, I'm sorry. How can I do better? Knowing that sometimes that person that we might have wronged might be ourselves. May all that is holy hear these, our prayers.
If you had a chance this morning to print out our web graphic before service today, now is the time to go ahead and grab it. And if you haven't had a chance yet, feel free to hit pause and print it out, or just watch along with us. That's fine too. Our final blessing this morning is for the school supplies. You, dear one, are filled with light and wonder, and inside your brain are all the answers to the questions that we don't even know that we should be asking yet. These supplies that lay out before you in this school year are how those answers are going to be spilled out into the world. Your pencils and your pens, your scissors and glue, your rulers and compasses, your paper and folders, your paintbrushes and canvases. These are the tools that let your inner light shine. Now, I invite you to take up a tool of your own and turn to our image. You are all a part of the interconnected UU Web at First Parish in Framingham. And these drawings that you'll be making here today with us will be collected. You can scan them and send them to me via email, pop it in the mail, send it to the church with my name on it, and we'll be turning these into laptop stickers that you can put onto any device that you use this year for your schooling. At the end of that, in the coming weeks, you'll get the sticker back to you in the mail. So join me as we color and make these our very own.
The ongoing work of this congregation in these walls and far beyond them depends on your generosity. During this time when we cannot pass the plate, we are collecting our offering virtually. So there are details on the next slide about how to do that. And if that seems a little too complicated, do feel free to write a check and put that in the mail when you have a moment. I'm sure you know the address better than I do. All right, whenever you are ready. This morning, while we have blessed those starting the new school year in educational settings, I am also hoping that we are blessing those of us who are lifelong learners, though our classrooms look different than the ones we occupied in earlier years. Each one of us has learned something, certainly since this pandemic took over the news cycle. But I think we're learning something new each day as well. I asked my Facebook friends on Tuesday of this week, what was the last new thing that they learned? And they had a wide-ranging list. Some learned how to assemble a mid-century modern coffee table by themselves. Others learned how to make stuffed cabbage, learned how to fly a remote-controlled airplane. One learned how to compromise a Linux system that isn't properly secured. Others have learned how to prevent falls and slips at their place of work, or how to prepare for an evacuation due to the threat of wildfire, and how to improve the air quality in a home infiltrated by wildfire smoke. Or one of my friends, the most recent new thing they learned was how to breastfeed. Others learned something deep about their childhood and how that impacts their life in the day-to-day. Now, we are each lifelong learners, and thank goodness for that. I can look back at the ways of being or patterns that I had when I began seminary. And I can see how those have changed over the last 11 years. How the foundation that was laid by what I learned in seminary or what I learned in internships, and how those views have changed or completely shifted after serving several congregations now. Lay leaders and members of those congregations and colleagues have all reshaped them, of course. Now, some skills aren't taught in seminary, or if they are, we've had to tweak them quite a bit. Preaching, the writing part of it is pretty much the same, but now we've added video production skills. The skills necessary for pastoral care are also the same, but now we have to contend with masks or communicating by text message. All of us have been forced to innovate and learn new things at a rate that is far too quick for comfort. If all of this learning feels exhausting, it's because it is, dear one. Tara Heil, a science journalist, explains it this way. Surge capacity is a collection of adaptive systems, mental and physical, that humans draw on for short-term survival in acutely stressful situations, such as in natural disasters. But natural disasters occur over a short period of time, even if the recovery is long. Pandemics are much different. The disaster itself lasts for a long time. I wish we had a moment to pause, a moment where we say, you know what, let's just rest a little bit. Being human can be exhausting. Can we take off some time just to rest and recalibrate? Can we take off the additional stress of learning how to live in late-stage capitalism in a pandemic with threats to our democracy and our climate? I realize that might be a little much for an intentionally multi-generational service. I guess what I'm really trying to say is be gentle with yourselves. We are each lifelong learners. We learn how to live life anew after the birth of a child, or a marriage, or a relationship entering a new phase of existence. We learn how to live life anew after a divorce, or a death, or a child moving away, after job circumstances change. We celebrate these big milestones of learning with ceremonies, parties, and expensive pieces of paper suitable for framing. But we deserve to celebrate the hidden milestones, the lessons that we learned the hard way. This way of being, this constantly learning, is embedded in our faith. It's in our third and fourth principles: acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, and a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, which I think means our minds are constantly expanding. This reinvention necessary for life to continue to unfold can be found in the world around us. We have to develop that skill that my colleague, the Reverend Teresa Soto, writes about in that reading that Marianne and Lily read earlier in the service. When Teresa asks, can we develop the skill of remembering the future? Can we commit to build the community that will extend into a time that we only know by memory, because it will outlast us? How can we do this? I think we need some emergent strategy. Adrienne Maree Brown writes about this so eloquently in her book, Emergent Strategy. She bases emergent strategy off of the work of science fiction writer Octavia Butler. I love emergent strategy quite a bit, and I'll reference it throughout my ministry with you, so I think it's important to introduce the principles of emergent strategy. Small is good, small is all, meaning the large is a reflection of the small. Change is constant. We have to be like water. There is always time for the right work. There is a conversation in the room that only these people at this moment can have. Find it. Another point is never a failure, always a lesson. Another one is trust the people. If you trust the people, they become trustworthy. Move at the speed of trust. Focus on critical connections more than critical mass building. The resilience, or rather build the resilience by building the relationships. Less prep and more presence. And finally, what you pay attention to grows. My friends watching this, wherever you might be watching, we'll dig into these principles more in the coming weeks and years together. Until then, may our learning be blessed. May we recognize and celebrate the new things that we have learned. May we learn something new every now and then. May we stay healthy. May the ways that we connect with others be blessed as well. May it be so.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in awe. Keep with the web of creation your law. Giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the truth. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Soften thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the white sky. Take as your neighbor, both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my conscience with justice thy guide. Join with the people whose rights I delight. Take not for granted the privilege grace. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. When toward the planet transform my own head.
As we leave this virtual space, let us take the light of love out into the world and use it to brighten our pathways. And when we need to rest or recharge, be challenged or affirmed, may that light guide us safely back. May we hold the light always, and the light hold us always. Go in peace. I now invite you to extinguish the flames you have lit in your homes, as I extinguish the flame of our chalice. As the flame goes out, let the smoke waft through the air for just a moment. And I invite you to type into the chat box, I carry the flame.